the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show, the Tailgate Show.
Welcome to another episode of the Tailgate After Dark. Starting a little late tonight. Doing this one for the ladies. How's it going, gentlemen? I'm here, Jer, Bear Down Loyal. Thank you for joining us. If you want to get in the chat, YouTube, Jer, you know all the other.
Did you just call me Bear Down Loyal? I don't think you've ever called me that before.
Bear Down Loyal.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got your own,
I'm not good for that anymore.
You got your own brand, man. Everybody knows at Bear Down Loyal. You could probably make that T-shirt and sell them. You know what I mean? You got your thing going on Twitter. So
you think everybody knows that, or you think they just know
your
brand and gravy? I don't know.
Brand loyalty.
I don't know. That's where you at. You are at Bear Down Loyal.
What a shitty brand.
It's not the worst brand I've seen.
Self-loathing.
Just don't start. Right. Don't allow the brand to make like a delivery food service, please.
What would you call that delivery food service?
Burnt Eats.
Shit on a shingle.com.
Uber Toast.
Trust me, it's done. That's the catchphrase.
So, guys, we had the combine press.
That clicked super.
That clicked super great.
Go ahead, Diddy.
Sorry, thank you everybody for joining us. If you're still up, because this is a late start for us. So, yeah, we had the pressers at the combine today. Coach Eberflus and Poles addressed the media for the first time since the hire. So, start with Poles. What'd you guys think with his presser?
Well, I thought he had some very telling parts. Talking about how he sees his linemen, actually naming players by name that, Flus was less likely to do. So there was some interesting tidbits you could have picked up there.
Naming players by name is pretty common, right?
Not really. Pace didn't really do a whole lot of that. Unless, like, in the offseason he did, if he was trying to, like, blow them or whatever, but still.
Yeah, I'd have to write down how many times Pace mentioned other guys. He seemed to. I don't know if that was a big difference. I mean, go ahead.
Other than Mitch.
Yeah.
I thought the biggest thing is, and it's really probably the most irrelevant thing, though, is the difference in how he came off and how he spoke now as opposed to the introductory press conference. Seemed a lot more confident being up there. Not that it ultimately matters. I just need my GM to be a good GM. I don't need him to win any public speaking awards. He just seemed a lot more confident, a lot more settled in, a lot more comfortable.
Yes, yes, comfortable. That's the right word.
And, he mentioned Ian Cunningham as a guy that he's really leaned on here lately. So I thought he was a little bit more insightful than the first year of Ryan Pace in terms of what he gave away. I mean, he specifically addressed some position groups, which I thought was nice.
I know. It was the offensive line thing. That was wild, right? He wants his linemen to be smaller or faster. And, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I think that gives you a little insight as to what they think about the offense coming in. It's going to be I feel like maybe they're going to put more emphasis on misdirection and speed, which could be a very interesting thing for a guy like a Khalil Herbert, who Poles brought up by name. You could see a little shift in the backfield where Khalil Herbert gets a little more run.
Yeah, I mean,
purely speculative, obviously, but
everything's speculative at this point in the offseason. But no, he singled him out for a reason, right?
Right, it's the last 100-yard rusher the Bears had.
I think in an offseason where we're short on draft capital, the salary cap I think is going to be a little bit more limitations of what people think with how many free agents we have. You know, so you're looking to add playmakers around Justin, obviously, but I think if you look at Monty and you look at Herbert, that's where your focus on offense, I think, needs to be in year 2 here with Justin. So yeah, maybe it is Herbert getting more run. Maybe it is a more balanced attack with those two.
Yeah, he mentioned too that he liked some of those linemen, but he wasn't very specific on the linemen. So that leaves you with James Daniels, who came in lean 2 years ago and then was told to put on weight last year. Put on the weight. So does he revert back to taking that weight off if the Bears sign him? I don't know. I mean, that's a $10 million guy, possibly.
You definitely get the vibe he's not too thrilled with our old line.
What was that, Jer? 10 mil, you said?
10 mil.
You heard it here first. Just saying. I'll be here to tell you I told y'all so.
I told y'all.
I mean, we could get Jensen in that ballpark at center.
Give me some Ben Jones action.
Jensen's kind of a beast, bro.
I mean, Jensen is a beast. He'll be the highest paid.
Like, we need that. I want that nasty. I want that nasty on our O-line.
But I do like Ben Jones. I think that he's probably looking at Ben Jones.
Who?
Shout out, McDaniel. You know, he's probably going to be like one of the mid-tier guys, 5, 6, 7. And he kind of mentioned the second and third wave of free agency. I feel like is going to be a little bit more of an emphasis than that first wave.
Solid guy, man. I've always liked him. I liked him coming out of college. I think it's a guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be like the guy like we've had like Hilgenberg, but he can be very serviceable like Roberto Garza was, you know, at that center position. He could anchor that.
Yeah.
It just sucks that they didn't develop Daniels, and we're talking about this right now.
Right. I mean, if that's where we're at.
I hate to say it, but it's the domino effect of 10.
Well, that, and it's also the domino effect of bad drafting and bad contracts by Ryan Pace. And if you're a Pace protector to this day, what the fuck are you doing? Look around. Just look around at this roster. Look at our cap position. Look at our draft capital. It's not good, man. He left this place in kind of a shithole.
And I'm not gonna make excuses. Like, basically, man. Like, we gotta also understand that, like, when I forgot what coach said it. It's a pretty simple explanation, but like when a good quarterback, a top quarterback, gets drafted to a shitty team, right?
Right.
A GM gets hired by a team that's struggling. You don't get a GM job walking into a great situation. True. So this is what he came here to do. So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, things are shitty," and he's got a lot of work. Like, this is what we hired him to do. Like, I'm at the point where, like, I'm not making excuses for these dudes. Like, we need to see it, and he's confident, man.
Like, he looks like he's in,
right?
Yeah, Poles looks like he's in his element. He looks like he's relaxed.
He is, and he's got a lot. He does have a lot on his plate. There's a lot of roster turnover that has to happen somewhat because of how many guys we have to re-sign, how many positions we have to fill to get bodies on the field. Like, it's a tough task, man. But he seems pretty comfortable now.
Yeah,
like it's a cool vibe. Like,
you saw him in the 1920 Hallis Drive. You know, what they do or football drive.
I was going to bring that up later, but go ahead.
Oh, well, you know, where they were in the room talking to each other, and he was just, you know, he commands the room. It looks like, you know, it looks like he's definitely feeling way more comfortable than maybe anyone would have thought a rookie GM would have been.
Well, he's also put himself in the position where he said, I hired the guy under me because I'm getting pulled in different directions sometimes with other things going on in the organization. So, like, I actually think that the potential, if he does really well, this is kind of looking ahead too far. But, like, if he's positioning himself to be the director of football operations because he has an assistant GM, it's just a natural progression if he nails this.
That's an interesting thought.
He is a football guy. This is the guy that potentially, if it works out, we've wanted to be in charge of that. So he is getting pulled from being a GM for other things in the organization. He could, in a sense, be getting groomed.
True.
I know they handle all aspects of the team too, but I'm just saying he's building his own little what the Bears ownership should have built for us. He's kind of building a sub department of that.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So he just and he feels comfortable with him. There seems to be good communication going on with him and the scouts, and we'll see how it plays out, man. I mean, they both there's a vision and a focus, and like it's a cool vibe, I think, because Poles is the football player that's in charge of the coach now. Do you know what I mean? Like he was good enough to get run with an NFL team, at least a tryout, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, Pace was a player though too, defensive end. But I do think
he never sniffed an NFL field though.
Well, no, I do think you're onto something because if you the way that I look at Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, we're both sort of like that finesse style. And you look at Flus and you look at Poles, and it's sort of more of that blue collar toughness, just more of that grit that I think Pace and Nagy really lacked.
Like this is a dude that's going to get pumped up, I think, in the booth at like the football player in him when he's watching these games. It's not just
I'm fired up and excited.
Exactly. This dude, and I don't want to sound like Nagy-ish, but he seemed like a real ass dude. Like he's very laid back. He's got a cool demeanor about him. And then we'll move it into Flus a little bit here. Flus is like the freaking when I looked at that dude, I'm like, he looks like a college basketball coach number one. Right? But he comes off like, regardless of the sport, if you really listen to him, he's an old school ass coach. So we got like this football player in charge, right? The football offensive lineman type that's ready to like. He's pissed off when he sees people not defending the quarterback the way they should after he gets hit, like the way he was getting hit and guys were just standing around, right? He's in charge. And then you got this old school ass coach in Flus that you could just tell, like, you could tell he has that old school vibe about him. It's kind of a dope meshing together. And they both seem on the same page. And I know Nagy and Pace did too. It's good to have that right off the rip. So you got a new GM. I think this is a better build because you have a new GM that wasn't force-fed a coach like Pace was.
Right.
I'm not making excuses for Pace, but this is starting off as the vision for this new GM, and they didn't do that right last time.
And good for them for reopening, some pathways to some of the players that are getting into free agency. That's something that maybe previous regimes would not have done.
I mean, who's there to tag, though?
I mean, I was just thinking, they kind of brought up Allen Robinson, that they've been back to saying, this is a new team, this new coaching. We're looking at everybody with a different view than the coaches that you were looking at.
But, like, I guess my question is, who on this roster with the cap situation that they currently have is worth paying top 5 money for not to let go as a free agent?
Good point.
You don't want to cap strap yourself. You're in the position where you really can't right now. Like, you have too many things to fill before you franchise and get rid of half your available money for, like, if, say, for some crazy reason they wanted to franchise. Can they franchise A-Rob again?
They could use. I think you can do it twice. I think you can do it.
So they'd be paying him $18 million or something. If they can't even afford it if they wanted to.
No,
I guess the
really.
cap. Yes, the cap can be manipulated, but I'm saying you don't make.
But they could let him walk and not get. He may not get that 18, 19, 20, $20 million that he was thinking he was going to get, and they've left the door open to negotiate with him, which I think is good business. I think that's a good decision. Which is something I would never have thought that was even possible probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a new regime. I mean,
right.
his girl's from Chicago. I'm sure it would be comfortable for him to make Chicago work.
Oh, I don't know. The Allen Robinson Twitter machine would be very interesting.
Yeah, Twitter honestly probably represents maybe 20% of our fan base at best.
Right.
I mean, it's social media, bro. Like,
very much so. Yes.
If he starts balling out, nobody's gonna say shit.
Nope. You are right.
Be back to the fan club.
Yep. The 8th Robs will be in full effect.
All of us. We all want to see these players succeed. So when people rag on them and talk shit, like, it's because they're not living up to the fan expectation. But, like, if they start balling out, we'll be right back on the bandwagon.
Absolutely. It's about, the base word is fan and fanatic. You know what I'm saying? We're all a little crazy for him. We want to see everybody do well. We want to win a Super Bowl. We're tired of being mediocre. There's a thought.
You're right, man. And I really like the flow of these two guys so far. Like they seem just have a cool vibe about them. I'm not getting overly crazy. Oh God, the world's going to change now for us. But like it was cool. It was a cool vibe that I think both.
Well, I think it kind of shed some light on the unknown. You know, I did write a little piece on thetailgateshow.com. You know, we kind of are in this unknown because we don't really know what Poles thinks about, you know, certain player makeups, and we're starting to get that picture now, which is refreshing. You know, it's something that I don't know if the other regime did that well enough. You know, they just kind of drafted people and said, well, these are the people we're drafting. You know, what were you looking for? And what has Poles come out and said? We want the linemen to be quicker, faster, not necessarily big, smaller. You know, get under people, move them. 5% body mass index. I mean, there's some stuff that's been brought up that we never heard as fans before, which I found really interesting.
I mean, the only time I recall hearing that was like Spellman's body fat percentage because he was such a freak, and it wasn't like team driven. It was just the dude was just like a specimen of man. But
he's paid. They're putting a premium on it.
Yeah,
and I think, like you said, the consistency between the two, Flus and Poles, on that situation is really going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I feel like they have a modern vibe. They're caught up with the times in the NFL. They're not so old school that they seem outdated, but their mindset's old school. Where you're going to see this team. The goal of both of them is to make this team tough as fuck. Without them coming out and saying it, they're saying it. Like
they're going to push them.
Well, that's what Flus said, and he used the word systems. It wasn't just system. He's saying our systems. That means every system, offense, defense, special teams, they're going to be easy to learn, like easy to take in and process, right?
Right.
But it's going to be hard physically. It's going to be hard mentally,
right?
On the physical side of things, not on the picking up the playbook shit. Like you're going to have to want to be here, love football, and play your fucking ass off.
Well, that leads to the thought of
Jared. They also said we'll get there.
Go ahead.
They're basically saying that it's not there right now.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting. Like I said, great players want to be coached hard.
Guys like Quinn, yes, he had a motor no matter what was going on.
Right. Great players motivate themselves.
Roquan, you don't have to worry about him fitting into this.
Nope.
Roquan and Quinn.
Although they mentioned him at inside linebacker. I think Flus did kind of say, "Well, he'll play inside." Was he talking about him?
I just couldn't tell you, man.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but I agree.
Well, if you had the video ready, we could watch it and comment on it. But
nah, I don't have it ready. Nah, I've got my own problems with that.
Nah, but yeah, man, I was excited. You know, like
I'm too.
It was refreshing.
Well, in a time where we've been kind of disinterested, and let's just be honest, we've been disinterested as fans.
Well, yeah,
it gave us something that we could kind of sink our teeth into, and be like, okay, this is going to be the makeup of the team. I kind of can see that vision a little bit.
What do we have to fit? 28. We have to fill 28 roster spots right now.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so like for every pick to be correct, it's going to take some like Midas touch shit. So the chances are, like, we know we could be heading into a 8 and 9, 9 and 8 deal potentially. Like, we'll see what happens.
I think that would be a pretty respectable season at 9 and 8 or 8 and 9 right now. I don't look for that personally, but we don't know what the team is yet.
I think there's enough. Well, we got to see how it plays out. But if they get the guys back, I think they're going to, and they bring in some guys. I think there's going to be a lot of Colts on defense, in my opinion. There will be a couple Colts, I'm assuming. because it's just the transition makes too much sense, and they might just be depth pieces. Who knows?
Right.
But like, if you can get a receiver in here, I think Brad PFF was on Bears Banter talking about the potential. Oh, they could get a $13 million receiver, and then get like a $7 million receiver. Those ranges, they can bring 2 of those guys in.
Who does that Bears banner? Is that
Bill Zimmerman?
Bill Zimmerman. That's right.
Yeah, so it was just an interesting take. I'm just like, okay, let me go through this. The problem is the wide receiver free agents are all coming off injuries. Not all of them, but there's a bunch of them that have.
There's only one that's fairly healthy, and he's ours.
Rob. Yeah, I mean, I have to go through the whole list. I'm sure there's other guys, but the upper echelon guys, I think Williams was just battling an injury, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Goodwin was coming off injury.
Yep.
Shark injury. There's just a lot. There's a lot of guys that are coming off injuries. So hopefully, whoever we bring in stays healthy and helps Justin out. But it was just interesting to kind of.
Well, let's throw some names to it. Let me see here. Allen Robinson's the first one. T.Y. Hilton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Emmanuel Sanders,
Shark, right? Shark.
That's the one. That's the one that I like. DJ Shark.
Yeah,
DJ
Shark.
Shark.
So I said Shark. Wow, it is.
DJ Shark.
Yeah, so him and like Schuster could be a slot.
Christian Kirk. Yeah.
We have Juju doing like TikTok dances.
Good Lord, who knows? But yeah, I mean, there's guys, people can be had. I mean, I don't know what exactly Bears fans would express. I think we were talking before the show about Poles putting a emphasis on what can help a quarterback out the most. That is having a receiver that he can rely on that will bail him out. You know, are any of these guys that guy? Is Will Fuller that guy? Not really. Is T.Y. Hilton? No, he's more of a deep threat. He's coming off injuries too. He's not exactly young. I mean, I'm just there. The list is pretty desolate.
I mean, the guy could be on the roster, man.
Yeah, you could be very much correct on that.
I mean, I could definitely see Horstead becoming a safety valve.
That's a guy that's got to be explored more. I absolutely believe that.
I mean, he's still signed, right? I believe. I don't know. I have to look at the whole roster breakdown, but
I don't have that in front of me either.
Even if he isn't, you can get him in here for reasonable. So
yeah, he's not done anything.
I'm not saying he's going to be a lock to be that, but Justin was pretty comfortable with him. He made some pretty big throws to him, even in the preseason.
Agreed.
We were like, "There's something there," and they just didn't. For some reason, Nagy just nagged.
He does that. He's rather good at nagging. Be you, but be you in Kansas City, you fuck.
Kmet could become a reliable target. I don't think he's become the number one target. I don't think he's going to become Kelsey or anything like that. I think he can become a Rudolph.
Yeah,
which is just a solid contributor. So you can have those safety valves in multiple spots. So I don't. Mooney and him have been developing a good chemistry, and Mooney, Olave. I'm not going to compare the two. I think Mooney came in a little more raw, but Mooney can he could stretch the field. Once I think he's so hungry to be better. I think the sky's potentially the limit with him. I mean, he has really impressed from where he was drafted to his production, man. So like, I'm not saying he could be a top tier 2 option. I think
guys scare me that they say he's a great route runner, and that's because of pace. And you know, we got the best route runners in the draft twice in a row, supposedly, with freaking.
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller and the other one that was out of, I can't even think, Ridley.
Yeah, the other Ridley.
Oh, these guys might be the best route runners in the draft. Well, route runners or not.
Sure. I mean, the scouting reports lined up with that, though.
True.
I mean, yeah, receivers was one of his weaknesses.
Yes, big time.
I mean,
so much got to the point that we were running Goodwin out there and Damiere Byrd, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Damiere Byrd back.
Pace was good at identifying running backs.
Yeah, he did do that.
You know, I think, but like for some reason there was just a glitch for the wide receiver eye.
Wide receivers, just about everybody else.
Mooney being the exception, because I like Mooney a lot.
So say Olave drops to 32. You've got, what pick do we have? 40 something? Would the Bears move up? Do you think the Bears would move up for that guy?
Do you want to? So Olave, do you see any Mooney stuff with him? He is a very polished route runner. That's the thing with him.
The question I have is separation.
He can get separation. He's not going to win contested catches regularly. Like, not off the rip. He might, but like, I don't know. Like, do you trade up, or do you wait for a guy like David Bell? Or do you wait for a guy like? And I don't know how they're going to fall. I don't know what they're ranked. So like, I'm not taking a deep dive into this draft, but I don't know if he'd fall later. But George Pickens,
right,
from Georgia, and then you got what's the dude's name from North Dakota State?
Oh Lord, I know who you're talking about. I can see him streaking across the field, but I can't think of his name. Anyway, a receiver from North.
Is it Christian Watson?
Let's find out. We've got the most powerful tool in our hands.
He's 6'5", 208, right? He's the dude can get separation. He wins contested. He's
Christian Watson. That's the guy. Very good.
Yeah, he fights for Yak.
Good name, Paul.
Yeah, like I kind of like him too, but he's 6'5", Jer.
True. What can we do with 6'5"?
Right. So like that brings a different element to the, like, we have that little speedster that could be a really good route runner in Mooney that can extend, like Mooney can take the top off of defense.
Yep.
So to have a big target opposite and not have to trade up, like I don't know. I think you might just stay pat if you can get some of these guys. I mean, even David Bell could potentially be that top tier possession receiver A-Rob was for us. I'm not saying A-Rob can't be more than that.
Yeah, with your first pick, you're looking at the wide receiver market?
It depends what we're doing for agency.
Right.
Like if
but looking at the receiver, well, I mean, looking at the receivers list, there's not, I mean, other than Allen and, we're not getting Devonta. They're going to tag his ass, so.
We can't afford that.
No, we can't afford that. You're right. Not without making a huge move of some kind, so.
Well, I guess, yeah, the cap's always able to be worked. We could backload his contract for 250 years like Bobby Bonilla.
Oh, God. Ryan Pace would have done it in a heartbeat.
Right? Yeah, I don't know, man. The guys.
I mean, it's you brought up the draft. There's some position groups here coming up at the combine that are very interesting, I think.
Even Valdez-Scantling, like 6'4", 4'3", 40. If he could stay healthy, again,
Sure.
he's battling injury too.
He had some drops.
But he knows the system.
That's true. That would be a lateral move where he could help receivers speak the language. So
I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm interested to see how it plays out. We got 2 weeks left about before that starts kicking in. So like we'll be able to get that clearer picture. But now we got the combine. So like, what are some guys that I kind of listed the guys I'm interested in seeing because I want to watch the wide receiver group.
Yeah, you're more into the wide receiver group. Of course, I'm looking for that 3 technique. I'm looking for that big guy. The guy from Georgia, Wyatt, I believe is his last name. I don't know. He's in the top 50 of most people's draft boards. So
where do you take him?
I would take. If you're a defensive coach, wouldn't you not be tempted to take him with your first pick? Solidify that spot. Do you have that guy?
I know Poles said that the All-Star games don't matter, but I don't. Where's that dude? That dude from UConn that everybody was like salivating over. Did he like move up the boards?
No, I can't remember.
That defensive tackle that was just like dominating. I don't know.
Devonta Wyatt was the name.
Okay.
But let's say top 150.
Do you think we need to draft early there though? You don't think Blackson and?
No, I mean it all depends how you feel about the guys on your roster. You know, could you get by for a year or two, or do you take the chance on a guy that could? I mean, if you're looking for explosive, I don't think
Blackson and Tonga next to each other.
I mean, I think Eberflus did give you that in his presser. You know, he's like, you want it's a 3 technique. You want to be able to be explosive. That is the number one thing they look for. And from what I can tell, you know, I don't know if it's Tonga time yet. You might be drafting that spot. And if you get a guy like a Devonta Wyatt, who's big, holds the line, you know, hard to get out of the way. He's a block eater. You know, that might be the guy. And if he's that crucial to your defense, and all you have to do is look at Indianapolis. How crucial was the 3 technique in Indianapolis' defense? Crucial enough that they made a deal with San Francisco for theirs.
I think that like it depends how what the board is though. It's tough.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I mean, if you do the mock drafts the way they fall, like, and then you like share your mock, but like, I'm not going any further than like the top 5 to 10 on the board. Like, of course, you're gonna draft need at certain spots.
Right.
You are. You draft the best available, but need plays into those gradings when the players whoever's available. So like, if I usually don't go past the top 5 available on the board, but positions do matter at that point. I just think linebacker, if like we need linebackers.
Oh, we need linebackers. There's a lot of needs. You know, we picked up a linebacker today from the Texans, I guess.
Second cornerback.
Right. You need a second corner.
It all depends too, like I said, how free agency plays out.
Absolutely
clearer picture then.
And we all know that, you know, we don't have a lot. I mean, we think we have 40 millions a lot, quote unquote. It's not really when you have as many openings on your roster as we do.
Yeah, 20 plus. I thought it was 28. I may not be a few off there, but it's high.
Yeah. And those are all guys that you would like to think you would like to have one veteran presence there. You know, I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what the moves that are made, and like it has. I think that's like bringing up that 9 and 8, 8 and 9. It's like, so I know that's probably like the ceiling right now. Like just now, it may. I'm sure once we get to training camp, we'll get more hype. But right now, I know this is a reset, and with that, it's like, okay, now I'm just to the point. Like I got hyped about Nagy and Pace finally getting his guy, and now it's another reset, which I'm optimistic for. But
yes,
like we used to do this weekly, and like I'm like, I don't know if I can go every week, bro.
Well, you know, we had a doldrum there. I mean, a real low. There wasn't anything coming out, and then we got kind of a gaggle of news today, so that was refreshing. You know, it kind of reinvigorated my thoughts on this team because I was.
It definitely did. I
was detached from it. I ain't even gonna lie.
I'm just so hungry to like just be a consistently good football team, like competitive every year. Like I know this is going to take a while.
Absolutely, it's not It's not an overnight rebuild, and it is a rebuild, folks. It is a full-blown rebuild.
Yeah, Matt Rogers wants us to do live calls.
Oh, Lord, no.
We need to start
We'd
getting
have to have
sponsors.
we got to get a call screener.
And we'd have to pay for the extra line or
Right.
hotline. That ain't happening. We can Skype you in though once in a while. If people want to join the show and talk your shit, just like DM the Twitter page and we'll hook it up.
There you go. Yeah, just looking. I mean, position groups. I'm looking more at position groups rather than people right now. I'm curious to see. Is there a corner late that shows something that maybe we didn't see? Is there, an offensive lineman that shows up and really wows on a subtle level? Linebackers, we talk. You've got your one guy that you would trade everything for. Is who?
Kyle Hamilton. Bro, 6'4", 220. 6'4", 220. Do it all safety. Do it all. Did you watch that reel I sent you?
Yeah, I did. He's good. He's damn good. Would you drop him at middle? Let him play the Urlacher role?
Wasn't Urlacher already like 250 out of college or 245 or something? Like
something like 20 pounds. Shit, 20 pounds, 20 pounds.
No, he's just I would keep him at safety. I wouldn't even make that move. That dude is like, he's at safety.
If you're playing a cover too, a guy that's 6'4", runs like that, and can cover, that'd be tempting.
In the middle, yeah, it would. It would.
We've seen it work.
Then, yeah, you go all in.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your dude. I don't know where he's mocked at. I haven't looked at that. I'm sure it's probably out of our draft range. But
well, I mean, your dude from Indiana that you were talking about, Micah
McFadden. I like him.
Micah McFadden. I was telling you, like, can that dude play big nickel? Because like I watched what you sent me. I'm like, can you imagine him at nickel?
He's good.
But imagine him at nickel, Jer.
Oh yeah.
That's like a John Lynch at nickel.
Right on.
Do you know what I mean?
Welcome back, Biscuits.
I come back for nickel talk. What are we talking about?
No, we're talking about.
Call it Nickelback.
Did you? Biscuits doesn't watch anything. I sent you that Kyle the Hamilton.
Yeah, Notre Dame safety.
Did you watch any of it?
I actually did. Yeah,
Dude.
Way to give me any sort of credit there, fucker.
So check this out. Jared just brought up, and this. I think you're gonna explode when you hear this, but making him our middle linebacker in the cover too.
Au pair.
I mean, he's saying 6'4", 220, like with that skill set.
So that's pretty. What, he's maybe 10 pounds lighter than Lack was when he came in the league.
Something like that, 10, 15.
6'4", same size, yeah.
That's a prototype.
Yeah.
But you got to keep him clean. That's the whole thing.
Then you kick Roquan out to Will. I mean, that would not be the worst idea.
But I don't know.
That dude's going top 5 anyways. That's a pipe dream for us.
Yeah, it's insanely a pipe dream. But I'm saying I would go all in.
I mean, is the focus this offseason on the defense, or is it?
We're not there. It just I would like to have him here.
Hey, tell me about your receiver thing that you were talking about. We talked about it before the show, and I know we're jumping around here, but since you kind of had to go to the bathroom there, so
yeah, sorry. I had to drop a biscuit. My bad.
In the closet.
Did you really leave?
There's so many questions. So many.
No.
So many questions right now. But you're talking about big fish. You got a sense that maybe they're kind of slow playing this and might go after a big fish.
I mean, I took the comments today from Poles when he said, they asked him, what's the biggest thing that you've learned that you can do to help a second-year quarterback kind of take that next leap? And his response was, get him that guy that can bail him out, that wide receiver, that dynamic playmaker. And playmaker is a word that he used multiple times in that press conference today. So, probably not in position to move up into the first round without giving up a significant amount of capital.
Right.
Then you look at how many. Now, granted, the last couple of years have been a little bit different, but typically first round wide receivers in their rookie years, you're typically not getting a Jamar Chase. That's a unicorn. So, kind of reading between the lines, would it shock me if they maybe had a name in mind to trade for? One person, and granted, again, it's all speculation, but what about a guy like Mike Evans? You're probably going through a little rebuild there in Tampa. Maybe you're looking to get some assets in return.
It's a good name. I mean, I don't know how much with the cap and things of that nature. So,
yeah, I mean, it's all speculation at this point. We can throw names up against the wall and see what sticks. But I'm thinking a guy like that, someone in a situation where, maybe even a DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Deshaun Watson had DeAndre Hopkins.
Sure.
Had that safety blanket. Then what did Arizona do? They went out and got DeAndre Hopkins.
They went and said, you need a safety blanket. Here it is. The best one we got. Now you're starting to get in I don't know what year DeAndre's in. 8?
Yeah, he's getting up there. I think it's
getting up there.
8 or 9.
Yeah. Not a young
guy like that where, during the course of Justin's second year, okay, he's already having to learn, another system here again in year 2. So while he kind of works through some of those things and grows and develops, because it's not going to be an instant overnight thing, what would really help his confidence is to get a guy like that where, hey, he could chuck the ball up there, let that guy come down with it and sort of live through some of the pains, but also have that safety blanket to kind of get him through until the point where he can be that guy and he can make the receivers instead of the other way around.
Right on. Right on. It reminds me a little bit of Alshon.
Yeah.
We brought Alshon in. Granted, Cuddy was already established, but big receivers make big catches across the middle. Didn't necessarily blow the top off of a defense, but could get deep, and you could throw it up, and he'd go get it.
And when the separation isn't there, you have a guy that you can trust to throw that ball up there.
We've done it with Brandon Marshall.
Yep, 100%. Yep. And that's the thing with Allen Robinson this past year is everyone talks about, well, he never got any separation. And the bigger thing, too, is when the balls were thrown his way, those 50-50 jump balls, how many of those did he come down with?
I don't know the exact number. Not enough.
Not enough, exactly.
No, but the point I think while you were out, we had talked about, I like the idea that they've left the door open to talk to him again. I think it's a good thing. Maybe he goes out on the market and they say, no, we good. And he doesn't get the number he wants. Would you entertain the idea of Allen Robinson coming back?
So I'm not willing to totally rule it out. I think what you said, at least they're kind of leaving it open. There's 2 things for me with Allen. A is going to be the money, obviously. If we're talking, somewhere in the $10 million range.
Would you put a transition tag on him?
Oof, good question. That's not a transition. What the fuck is that?
You said leave the door open like a couple times.
Oh,
leave the door open.
Look at that. He's lurking in the shadows, ready to play a soundbite. Yeah, the bigger thing for me, I mean, if you're transitioning, tagging him, I don't think anyone's coming down and offering him a contract that he is going to accept that would pry him away from us. But outside of the money, here's the second thing is the level of effort. I don't think Poles and Flus are the type of guys that are going to put up with loafing and effort. And I'm sorry. Yes, I want my wide receivers to catch touchdowns, but I also want them to fucking block.
Yep,
and that's something that Allen Robinson just hasn't ever been willing to. You have to have a willingness and a want to block. That's. I won't say that
he's never done it, but the video where Justin's running and he just kind of lets go. That's a
he's done it. Thing. But what I need is that effort, at least that want to, more times than not. And I think I don't think that's always been there with him, especially as he was phased out of the offense, wasn't getting his numbers. Then you kind of saw it leak into other areas of his play.
Biscuits, you would love Kyle Phillips out of UCLA.
Oh, yeah? Is that a hot draft name? Is that what you're giving me?
Brett Coleman brought him up as a guy that he'd like to see go to the Bears. He's just – I think he's going to be a later pick in the draft. But, like, he's that little engine that could, dude, like that. Everybody wants to become Wes Welker or Daniel Braverman or
is
that
he
great hype Biscuits.
Oh, so is he a scrappy lunch pail guy?
First one in.
Sneaky,
first one in, last one out.
Sneaky athletic.
Sneaky athletic. Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. Sorry, Tanner Gentry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you get the vibe.
Dane Sanzenbacher. Like, sorry, like that never works for us. It works for like Green Bay and New England. That never.
It works. It kind of worked for the Rams too, a little bit.
Cooper Kupp's a different cat, and
he's a different type of receiver. But yes, they do share that similarity. So yes, that is true.
He could be the next Cooper Kupp
because he's white. Did you just?
That's really the only similarity between Cooper Kupp and Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. Yeah.
I mean, are we doing some profiling here?
I'm just saying, if we're going to say he could be our next guy, we're mentioning all these other ones.
The only person we didn't bring up was Tom Waddle.
Oh, and I love me some Tom Waddle now.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, this is, this guy we could get later in the draft that likes to block, real, like, Julian Edelman type, It took Jared like 30 names to catch on to what we were saying. Oh God, it's just that that training camp hero is what I'm saying.
I got you.
For certain part of our fan base that loves that shit. So anyway, yeah, man, I just want to see guys that contribute. Like I don't even for this roster. Like it's gonna be. We were talking also. It's gonna be interesting to see how he fills those voids in free agency. So hopefully we get to a place where we can draft best available. It's gonna be hard to do, but any guys that you're looking forward to seeing in the combine? I mean, or is it just too early for your whole draft vibe to kick in?
I mean, it's probably a little bit early, but obviously I have eyes on a couple of the wide receivers. Both of the two guys that I would really, really love, I think will not be there in the second round by the time we pick.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously your love affair with Chris Olave. I mean, obviously the Ohio State connection. I think it's just a natural fit. But in Drake London, who I think will probably be the first receiver off the board, if I had to guess.
Seems like his stock went up, man. I was talking to you guys about him. Pretty early.
Yeah,
like, look at this dude, and then like all of a sudden, like for some reason, he just like skyrocketed.
Yeah, another name that I've heard a lot that I really haven't had a chance to watch is George Pickens.
I mentioned him from Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at him, and then one guy is just a football fan, a guy that's never coming to Chicago because it makes absolutely no sense. But a guy that I'm really, really curious to see is Malik Willis from Liberty. Just as a football fan, a guy that has every single physical trait you could want. And what will he be? Where will he go? Interesting guy. Quarterback out of Liberty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have him going fairly high. I saw Pittsburgh.
I got a question. If you're a quarterback in this draft, do you throw?
Is that our boy Yakub?
Coob.
With the early picks, you'll thank him tomorrow.
Take him tomorrow.
No, I mean, if you're a quarterback in this draft, do you throw at the combine? With the stock being down,
I'd say probably not. It's not a great quarterback class. I think these guys like Corral and Willis are probably going to get overdrafted already just based off a need and not enough supply. So who are you separating yourself from? I probably would not throw if I was them.
I was just curious.
Yeah. No, good question.
It's not something that the new quarterbacks do a lot of anyway. Yeah.
So, well, I think everybody wants to do it at their pro days where it's controlled. It's in their place, so their comfort zone.
And I don't understand that. I do, but I don't. NFL, half of your games are not in your comfort zone.
100% for sure. Well, I mean,
So-
for them, it's a business decision, right? Because they're trying to look as good as humanly possible.
Which makes sense.
But I look at it from the different perspective. I would look at it as, hey, why don't you want to throw? Are you scared of the pressure? Are you scared to, me? I want a gamer. I want a guy that wants to go out there and throw at every opportunity and is not scared to do it.
You see Jakub's comment, QB class is not great. That's why people are having crazy talk on Mitch. But
God, yeah.
We were also told that the class that Mitch was in with Watson and Mahomes there was no first round talent there early in the process. So they talk shit about these draft classes. You don't know.
Is there any guy now, despite maybe my personal feeling and y'all's personal feelings on the guy, because I wanted Watson when he came out. I mean, is there any national championship winning quarterback coming out on the same level as Watson in this draft? I mean, who's the best rated right now? Is it Corral from Ole Miss? Corral?
Probably.
Golden Corral?
Him or Ritter.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati.
And he's streaky. I don't know. He's
so
got a lot of
tough.
question marks.
There's been classes where we thought they were going to be ballers, and then
that's true. No, that's definitely true.
It's such a tough position to freaking figure out. Really,
situation matters, man.
Got to say, I feel a lot better that we got Fields last year instead of having to.
Fields would be the number one pick in this draft.
Yeah,
and pretty consistently, it's the number one pick's the end out of Michigan, which kind of surprises me a little bit. He's great, don't get me wrong, but
I mean, how much of that do you think is positional value? In a weak top end draft of quarterbacks, that's probably edge is probably your next most important position. Edge, left tackle, corner, one of those four.
With the Bears' first pick, where do you think that pick should go, Biscuits? I already asked Brian a little earlier. So,
well, okay. So I mean, it's a loaded question. Obviously, it depends what they do with free agency, what kind of holes we're looking at. So I'm always a proponent of best.
If you're looking at this draft class,
all right, I'm gonna give you two answers. I go best player available. And if the best player available on your board does not fit a positional need, then you try and trade back if you can. Now, take all that stuff out of the equation. Which position am I looking at first? For me, it's probably wide receiver. And if it's not wide receiver, it's somewhere along the offensive line. I don't know if there's a center that has a second round grade worthy, whether that be a guard. How does Jenkins fit in? Are you looking at another tackle? So for me, it's either offensive line or wide receiver, that first pick, ideally.
Okay. So I'll give you the same scenario I gave Brian. Chris Olave is sitting at 32. Do you move to get Chris Olave?
That's tough. I think damn, that's tough. That's tempting.
Yeah.
I just think you have to and maybe based on this, you're not going to fix everything in one off season.
No,
you're just not. Even if you had a first round pick and you had a little bit more cash on hand, you're not going to fix everything. I mean, if you identify him to be what Poles said, that dynamic playmaker who can bail Justin. I mean, if you think he's, 80% of Jamar Chase, yeah, you do it.
You think so?
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying if their belief is that that.
We have Mooney, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So he'd be on the opposite side. I'm not saying Mooney has the same ceiling out of college, but they have a similar skill set. I think Mooney's climbing every year. I was thinking about it this way, Biscuits. There's some big body
type of receiver.
There's big body guys if you just sit. So even that kid from Christian Watson, I believe he's from North Dakota State. You look at his shit, he's a big dude. He can get separation, gets yak. He's pretty solid. So I don't know if it really depends how they want their offense to roll. Like, do you want two smaller guys that can both stretch the field, and like you're not going to get like Olave with his 50-50 ball stuff. It's not his deal.
It's not his game. Yeah.
You need to get the ball to him on time. He can make shit happen. Like he is a. I think he'd be a hell of a receiver for Justin. I like the fact that they have a comfort level together. So I get all that, but like it really depends if they like a guy like Bell too out of Purdue, like a bigger,
David Bell, yeah,
bigger bodied guy. You could get just sitting.
Well, that's what's really going to be interesting, in this first off season is we don't know what kind of player profiles they really like. We don't know what traits they tend to lean towards. I mean, everything that they said about, they really emphasize speed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the big body receiver is going to be the mold that they're looking for in this offense, but
could it be one of those, hey, look over here while we do this kind of deal?
Could be.
I mean,
That's the thing. There's so much that we don't know because this is the first time that these guys are going through the process in this new regime. So we really, we don't have any really indication of anything that they prefer.
Other than, like we said earlier, you talk about the linemen. They did give you a little insight, I think.
They did, yeah,
and stuff like that. But still, I agree. Oh.
He said, Yakub in the chat said, oh, God, here we go again with speed. Resign Bird and Goodwin. Yeah, and that's the other thing is if you're going to bring in speed, you got to utilize that fucking speed.
Right.
You need an O-line that can allow that speed to burn people.
Oh, true, but you also need non-static routes. I don't know why you're having 4-4 guys, 4-3 guys running hitch routes all day long. That doesn't make much sense either.
No.
You're right.
Slant, anybody?
Or long crosses, where they're doing the cross across the field. It takes time for that route to develop. Then if you're going to run those kind of routes, you better have a line that's ready to block for 4.5 seconds.
Yep. And you can find you don't need that prototypical number one wide receiver to have a safety valve for your quarterback. Sometimes it could be a solid slot receiver. Yep. That could be that guy. That could be that.
No, you said you talked about tight end.
I think Horstead could definitely be that guy if they would have let that shit develop. They just never. That regime just couldn't see it. Like we saw it as fans. We saw it starting the preseason. They had a chemistry. That he was throwing some like shoestring shit to him, like in that Tennessee preseason game.
Yep.
Yeah, where he went crazy.
Like that, we were like, that's different. They're building something there, and they just didn't allow it to keep going. Like,
but guys, how can we give him snaps when we have to give Jimmy Graham the snaps?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like
we're still paying for him too.
I love that dead cap hit this year.
It's a complete reset for me for Justin, man, because like this shit, like definitely a clean slate for him.
Yeah,
like Flus kind of said in his presser, fresh green grass for everybody.
Yes, it is.
So
let me ask you guys a question based on some of the early conversations we had today involving Poles and Flus. I seem to get a sense of that you two both have maybe a higher confidence level in both those guys, Flus in particular, as opposed to when the hirings were first announced. Would that be true? Where's your confidence level in these two guys compared to when they were first hired?
It's hard to say. I'll just say this, man. Like, I'm at the point where you need to show me. I like the personality. I like the vibe right now. It's way too early for me to tell you how confident I am in what they're gonna do. I like what they're presenting. I like what they're bringing to the table as far as their personality. I like the old school football coach and the football player, like I said, being ahead of it all. Like the football player mentality, offensive line, like that dude that would have no problem putting pad. He probably put pads on and get down with these guys. You know what I mean? Like he just has that vibe. He gets it. I like the vibe. It's way too early for me to get hyped about what I think the production is going to be. I need to see it. So it's like cautiously optimistic, which I've said I don't know how many times as a Bears fan, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Same. Very much the same. I like the idea of, we're going to hold our players to a standard, and then eventually they will hold themselves to that standard, or they won't be Chicago Bears.
Yeah, where I think, Jared, the dynamic change is going to be the coach is going to set this shit off. And I think Nagy, honestly, in my opinion, Nagy expected the players to be that.
Yeah, expect them to already be ready.
The players, right.
And I think what always gets lost in this is that coaches play such a vital role in a 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old player. They're still kids, man. They're still developing. They need that discipline. They need somebody to push them.
I mean, do you think we're going to see weekly captains because we're playing somebody's ex team?
God, I hope not.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, shit's going to be a different. It's going to be a different vibe.
Right. And I'm for it. I'm here for it.
Me too. The team should be able to look to their captains every single week and know who is leading them. Plain and simple. It's a stupid idea.
I agree. I just think that's we went from Fox needing to be here to clean shit up. That solid veteran presence. It sucked, but it was needed, right? And then we went to this young, innovative mind offensive coordinator that was weighing over his head. Luckily, the dynamic changed in the locker room, so it wasn't completely suffering.
Yeah,
it was. You know what I mean? Like it didn't all
the
fall
leadership
apart like
was there,
right? And I just like this guy's a good mix of that old school vibe, but still modern enough to coach in today's NFL.
He does have a little foxy feel to him, doesn't he?
Old school. No, Fox was just a mumbler. Like this.
No, but I'm just.
The Fox was riding that golden parachute to retirement. He saw one last windfall payday.
Yeah, total different vibe. This guy's waited. He's 51 and finally getting a shot to be a head coach. This is a completely different vibe.
What I'm saying is like, he's involved in all aspects. Like, he Fox said he was, he's not a coordinator of the special teams, the offense, the defense, but he coordinates all three, things like that. He's kind of mentioned that he's in the special teams room. He's in the offensive room. He talks to the coaches.
He needs to learn it though, Jerry. He's never done
That's true. That's true.
But he's not just focusing his attention on one side of the ball. Like, what did Nagy say in 18? He's like,
Fox came in with
because I don't even have to go to that side of the building. I just walk in, I go to the offense. I don't have to worry about that side. I like that it's going to be different with Flus in that regard.
Right.
Yeah, Fox came in with a little more I'm John Fox.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like
we just got blown out in the Super Bowl. I'm John Fox.
Exactly. And
Carlos Santos.
Right.
Don't miss that shit, man. So yeah, it was refreshing to hear new voices. I guess that's I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic. But
I'm interested to see how training camp is. That is something I'm really if fans are allowed to see the differences between a Matt Nagy training camp and a Matt Eberflus training camp. Will he stop plays in the middle and be like, hey, what are we doing? This is, that's something that to me is going to be a very telling thing in his coaching style.
How often did you see that live, Jer?
I saw Nagy a couple times.
So how would that be different?
Nagy never did it.
Oh no! I mean, did you ever go to other camps though? Like for the
no,
you have the public sessions. I don't know how hard they go in the paint on the players in front of the fans. I don't know if they're just trying to go through.
They do a lot of position drills and things of that nature. There was guys trying to, guys are trying to make the team. They're going because it's all recorded. It's all there.
Well, I think some of the sound bites we got from most off seasons under Nagy is that the training camps weren't as physical as maybe we would like to see. And granted, there's a lot of rule changes now.
Oh, yeah, we want the dick shit. Yeah.
No, I
don't want that. I want
but
smart. I want a coach that's smart and says, if you're screwing up, stop.
Oh, accountability.
Just run the play. Yeah.
You want some accountability. Okay.
Yeah, but can you hear
the concept, right?
Can you hear what's being said to the players from your vantage point?
If the coach is loud enough, yes. Yes.
Yeah, who was the only coach that was loud enough under Nagy? What, Furry, probably?
Furry was a loud guy.
Just sucked as a coach.
Was it Drayton? Was it Stan Drayton? Was our running back coach when Howard was a rookie?
Yeah.
He laid into Howard's ass at a freaking training camp practice I was at.
Yep.
Like, you want to talk about giving a rookie shit?
Really?
Yeah, because I think Howard was like 3rd or 4th on the depth chart when he got here.
Yeah, he was buried.
Yeah, like, dude, they would all the things you want to say about Fox. He had Fangio at DC. Vic is just like a fucking, when he gets on the field, he was just like a mobster. Like, fucking Vic's here. Everybody just shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't a big vocal guy though either. But I think Vic.
No, I'm not asking for, like I said, I'm not asking for a fucking scream and kill them all. I'm just like, it'll be interesting if he like stops practice in the middle of 7-on-7s and be like, why did you do that when you should be playing it like this?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
with the
things like
tape,
that.
I don't know. I don't know if you go back.
You would
and do
be
that
able to
multiple
tell
times.
because the coaches, I mean,
They're
now
so
this is a
limited with
burden.
time, though, too, Jer. Like, they're so limited with time that when the practices are like half of what they used to be when we were younger, right?
Sure.
So like, they just have to keep flying through and probably beat them up more in the film room.
Yeah, but coaches love to coach, and if they see something, they'll stop it. You know, I've seen that enough. And I know the NFL is a different animal, but a young coach trying to,
well, especially if you're
establish
seeing the same
himself.
problem over
Right.
and over and over again, you know, maybe there is a point of emphasis to stop
Or take them off to the side and let everybody else keep going.
Sure, and also it also depends on if you're teaching concept. If you're teaching concept to, say, a receiver on a certain defense, you know, things like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think we gave it to them, guys. I mean, this was. I'm just saying that there's more meat on
spit on it.
bone than I thought there would be.
Yeah, and we're just starting.
I mean, you keep writing articles, so I feel like we have to do a podcast just to like show after it.
It's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy writing, even though the grammar's terrible. Grammar's bad.
I didn't notice the grammar was that bad, honestly.
Oh, well.
I'm sort of a stiffler for the grammar.
If it looks like it needs a comma, it gets a comma.
No, I applaud you for finding something to write about, man. Really.
Well, like I said, I felt like we were into an unknown, and I feel like we're starting to finally get, you know, a small glimmer of what these guys are about. And we'll learn more as, you know, availability allows. And
you wrote about that ahead of time?
Oh, yeah, I wrote about that. I wrote about the fact that we didn't have a picture.
You prophesized in that article?
I mean, articles.
Thank you,
write
Jesus.
articles that foreshadow now. It's not out of the realm of possibility or ordinary. Did y'all talk about free agent wide receivers when I was gone?
Yeah, there ain't much there.
Who did you all pick?
Oh,
there was a couple injured guys we were interested in, guys with injury history, which
Gallup, Godwin,
the whole list.
Okay,
the whole list.
You want to give me the cliff notes of who you all chose?
Well, the thing is,
we didn't really pick one.
Who isn't injured? Who doesn't have injury issues that's available or coming off injury?
Juju.
No, he's coming off injury.
Is he?
Yeah.
What his ego? What?
No, he was out most of the season.
Yeah, injured foot.
Yeah.
Well, the one guy that maybe you guys mentioned him, I think he's been injured every single year. I don't know if he's ever played a full 16 before this year, 17. Is Mike Williams. How do you guys feel about Mike Williams?
He's injured.
He's hooded.
All right, great analysis.
Big body receiver. Yeah.
There's your big body playmaker that you're looking for. And
yeah.
Well, let's the big body playmakers. Okay, I'll just go. Ooh. Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin.
Big body talk.
Chris Godwin isn't big bodied receiver.
I know. I'm just saying. You're talking about security blankets. Don't necessarily have to be big body guys, right? Just security blanket.
When has Godwin been a security blanket?
you want him to play that role. These are the free agent receivers.
When has he?
You can't eat.
I guess when Evans
exactly. There's your point. Will Fuller, not a security blanket. Jamison Crowder,
Utility guy.
T.Y. Hilton, long in the tooth, not young.
Old and washed. Yep.
Juju has carried an offense.
Juju in the slot, I'd be all right.
Juju on that beat. AJ Green, no. Keelan Cole,
no.
Sammy Watkins,
hell no.
Well, he was. That's the talented receiver needed for Lamar Jackson.
What's the deal with Jarvis Landry?
He wants out of Cleveland.
For good reason.
That's a good security type receiver. He's not the big body type of guy, but he's a reliable possession receiver.
He's a blocker.
Yeah, he's got effort for sure. Probably would look a lot better if Baker Mayfield wasn't his quarterback the last couple of years.
Felt.
It's an interesting name, Diddy. Good pull.
Yeah, out of Miami, I wasn't interested in him because he kind of had a little head case shit going on constantly. He seemed to tone that down, but he's an intense player.
Yeah, LSU guy, right? Yeah.
He's part of that same class with OBJ.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Him and Odell are boys.
That's right. Yep.
And Odell is on that list, but he's also coming off of a knee.
Yeah, he's probably not playing anytime soon.
Christian Kirk.
I mean, he's had injury issues too, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he can be dynamic.
Right. So,
Just
a few names.
Christian Kirk wouldn't be a bad name.
See, Malik Taylor. I'm just kind of going through here to get go through all the list here.
You didn't say Chark.
DJ Chark is very interesting for me.
Underperformed, but how much of that is from bad quarterback play and being
Mike Thomas from Ohio State.
Is he available?
He's on the free agency list.
Well, no, Michael Thomas for the Saints?
I don't think so.
That's Mike Thomas. Wait a minute, wrong Thomas.
I think so because the Saints just came out today or was it today or yesterday? And I think they seem pretty committed to trying to keep him and work that out.
Yeah, I was about to say
Mike Thomas from the Bengals.
Not to mention, I mean, what does he look like now? He hasn't played in so damn long.
Again, it's a lot of guys that have had injury issues. So who the heck knows, man?
Yeah.
But
Alan Lazard.
A-Rob had a pretty significant injury too, and he ended up bouncing back all right. So.
Sure. Not all receivers are made the same. The point of the list is there's not really a whole lot. And that's where I let in with if Chris Olave is sitting at 32, then where do you go?
I'm looking at it just, can we replace Allen Robinson for the same money with two guys? I'm good with that if they're contributors. You add more depth. We need more people. We need more bodies. There's two guys under contract or one at wide receiver?
Technically two because Daz.
Right. I'd rather get two more for the price so that we'd pay one of the top guys.
And that's GM malpractice, by the way. How dare Ryan Pace fuck this team like that on the wide receivers? I mean,
it was the same thing with corner too, right? Like the Kyle Fuller situation was coming to a head for 2 years. He knew it. Yeah, he drafted Jalen, but other than that, I mean, he really left the cornerback position very, very thin. So, like, that's the thing with Pace is he never had the foresight to see the long-term plan down the road and what they would have to do.
28 holes on this team.
Pause.
It's a lot of holes.
It's a lot of holes to fill. And that's from your previous GM. So all you Pace protectors can go eat a big dick.
It's going to be like there's so many holes to fill. It's almost like being single in Myrtle Beach.
Oh.
Oh. Let that breathe. Let it breathe.
Yeah.
I'm just joshing you.
Coming at you in waves.
Oh, are we getting the Diddy analysis voice now? Oh,
No, you haven't.
Guys,
you
there's so many holes to fill, guys.
Oh, let's break that down on film, shall we?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to AA's draft analysis whenever he comes back. Shout out AA. If
you're gonna get his.
I know you're not, but love you, buddy.
You're gonna get his analysis post draft.
Post draft. Yep. Oh, okay.
He's really
AA's been on a little sabbatical, so.
No, what AA is doing is he's basically really digging into this draft deep, so he can give us just really super educated opinions post draft. I mean, I've never seen him grind this hard. The profile, the draft stuff he's doing, he could actually probably come out with his own draft book now.
What was that name you guys were throwing around in the thread the other day? Mo something or
Bo?
Was it Bo or was it Mo?
I thought it was Bo.
I thought maybe it was.
I mean, he's getting deep. He's grinding.
I had to Google it. I thought it was a bullshit name. It turns out it's actually a real draft prospect.
Yeah, that was my big mock draft. But yeah, he's grinding, man. I'm telling you, like, we'll probably come out with the Tailgate Show draft guide next year. The way this dude's putting work in. So.
Oh shit, we need sponsorship for that.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Get Yakub in there to do some editing. Because I know he dives deep into the draft too.
Does he?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds legit.
Hey, it's Twitter and podcast. You can be who you want and say what you want and tell everybody you're an expert if you want.
There you go.
But we're not, and we're cool with it. So yeah, man.
We're fans.
I just want to see this team get better, and if it takes a year or two to kind of take a step back to get there, ultimately I'm good with it. But I'm just trying to I'm in wait and see mode, so I'm just like, how much is there gonna be to really dive into this offseason after you got after OTAs in between that and training camp?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
but
especially when so much time is occupied with Providence basketball right now, so I really haven't had the time to.
How you feeling tonight?
To really, they lost to Nova, didn't they?
Yeah, well isn't it? Actually,
shout out P Shells. Sorry, buddy.
After all that shit talk about UConn, hope I do.
Purdue lost today again.
Did they? Shout out Bradley.
Jared, who did UConn beat last week?
Nova.
What, did they beat somebody else? Starts with an I? Did they?
No, they didn't beat Indiana.
Oh, okay.
No, Jared don't want that smoke.
Okay.
Shit, you don't want us.
Play
your weak ass Big East.
Are you going weak ass Big East? That is funny. That's actually hilarious right now. Okay. Are you guys even in the tournament?
No, not yet. I think we got to. Well,
I was like, I think we got
tournament. That would be awesome.
Yo, Yakub, look up if Coastal's in that fucking tournament.
You don't know about your alma mater?
Fuck no. I haven't watched a single game of Coastal basketball all year.
Is it like the Coastal Postals? What's their name?
Chanticleers.
Oh, that's fancy. That's like Dijon mustard. Like grape and fawn.
Yeah, I think it's some sort of rooster.
A cock, you say?
Yeah, but like maybe one that switch hits, I believe.
Interesting.
I believe it's how it's defined. So it's
Cue the Alice in Chains. Here they come to snub the rooster.
And that is Coastal Carolina talk.
And I think it's the end of our talk.
Yeah, I think so. I think we did.
Wow, what a way to end the show. Yeah,
I'm just saying, we start talking about livestock. I mean, it's probably time to call it quits, right?
You're gonna call me the herdsman. Ha, ha, ha.
We definitely probably will be after this summer.
Flap right into that bitch.
You dirty little shepherd, you.
That's just another episode of
And that's just another
Love
episode
guys, man.
of the Tailgate Show.
The free agency.
The Flus Poles. The
Ooh.
Flus Poles. The
Ooh,
Flus Poles.
duh, 28 holes.
The 20